Hi, my name is Matthew Hardy and I love theater. I have lived in New York City for about 25 years and have worked in the biz for that whole time in just about every capacity imaginable. I've been an actor, a writer, a stage manager, a director, a choreographer, an agent, a critic, an usher, you name it, and I've probably done it, just like many people who work in this industry. And every year, I try to see every show that opens on Broadway, which can be very expensive. But I'm going to share some tips and tricks that will allow you to see as much theater as you can in New York without putting you in the poorhouse. There are 41 theaters on Broadway, and a typical Broadway season has about 30 new openings. And you could see every one of those 30 shows for under $1,500. It is doable, I have done it, and I'm going to tell you how I do it. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about a website that is going to make all of this information I'm about to give you very manageable and easy for you to find shows on Broadway and off Broadway and see them for a reasonable ticket price. All right, let's get into this. Theater tickets can range from $20 up to $500 plus. We have to remember that theater is a luxury item, and so it is priced for rich people. But there are not enough rich people to fill all the seats in a theater, nor would the rich people want to sit in some of the seats in the theater. But let's also remember that Broadway theaters are pretty small compared to the giant stadiums and even the giant opera houses and newer theaters that I've seen built. I grew up in Houston, and some of the theaters that we have there are so much bigger than Broadway. When I first came to New York, I was amazed at how small Broadway houses are. So there are 41 Broadway houses. They range from 597 seats, which is the smallest, that's the Helen Hayes Theater, up to 1,926 seats, and that is the Gershwin Theater, where Wicked is currently playing. An average Broadway theater has 1,225 seats. A standard Broadway ticket for the rear mezzanine, the nosebleed seats, even though I hate calling them that because Broadway houses are so small that they're really not that far from the stage. And those can be sold for between $50 and $90. Orchestra seats go for between $100 and $200, and premium seats can be between $300 and upwards of $500. Okay, so let's start with full price tickets. You can buy them online or you can buy them at the box office. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you buy them at the box office, the fees are a lot less. I think there's just like a $3 theater preservation fee. I forget what it's called. But if you buy them online, there are going to be higher fees. So let's break this down. The website where you go to buy your ticket depends on who owns the theater that the show is playing at. And there are primarily three big companies. So there are three major websites. First is Telecharge, and that covers all of the Schubert houses, of which there are 17. Broadway Direct, which covers the Nederlander houses, of which there are 9. And you have Seat Geek, which covers the ATG, which is the Ambassador Theater Group, which owns 7 theaters on Broadway. All of these have similar fees between $15 and $20. That's a convenience fee of about $12 or $13 plus a flat order fee of $3. That's the majority of the theaters on Broadway, but we also have our non-profit theater companies. That includes Roundabout Theater Company, which has 3 theaters, Manhattan Theater Club, which has 1 theater, Lincoln Center Theater, which has 1 theater, and Second Stage, which has 1 theater, which is the Hayes Theater, which is the smallest theater on Broadway. Now, of those, Roundabout and Second Stage have their own websites for selling tickets. The other 2, Manhattan Theater Club and Lincoln Center Theater, use the Schubert website Telecharge. And finally, we have 2 more theaters to get into. One is an independently owned theater, that's Circle in the Square, and they use Telecharge. And then we've got Disney, which owns the new Amsterdam Theater, which uses Broadway Direct, which is the same one that Nederlander uses. So to recap that, Telecharge covers 20 theaters, Broadway Direct handles 10 theaters, SeatGeek handles 7 theaters, and then we've got Second Stage and Roundabout, which are nonprofit theater companies that handle their own ticketing. Next, let's talk about discount apps. And really there's just one. It's called TodayTix. It's been around for gosh, I feel like 20 years now, and this has really changed the game, I know personally, for me. The decision to use TodayTix is made by the producer of the show, not the theater owner. And most producers choose to offer some tickets on TodayTix for Three main reasons. Number one, it's a great way to move unsold inventory. Number two, TodayTix can operate a digital rush and a lottery, which I will get into in a bit. And the third reason is TodayTix targets a younger demographic, and so producers who want to get more younger people into the theater will make tickets available on TodayTix. TodayTix charges a flat $12.50 fee when you buy your tickets. But if you buy over 16 tickets in a year, which I usually do, you become a member of the gold tier level, which gives you 10% off on all the tickets you buy, which basically negates that fee. Also, what I love about TodayTix is for $5, you can buy a ticket protection where if you need to cancel your ticket for any reason, they will give you a credit for the amount you spent on the ticket, minus the $5, of course. And if you belong to gold tier, you get 3 of those free every year. So the way I work is if I'm not sure if I'm going to get a press ticket or some kind of discount rush ticket to a show, good example is Every Brilliant Thing. Had I been in town, I would have bought a ticket on TodayTix for previews, hopefully close to the opening. And then if I was fortunate enough to get a rush ticket or a lottery ticket or a press ticket, then I would have used the ticket protection program to get my money back or get a credit, or I would take the ticket and sell it on the theater app, TheaTr, which is this amazing app for reselling tickets. They have restrictions that stops people from selling the ticket for more than what is listed on the ticket price. But if you buy a ticket early on in a run, especially if a show that is going to be doing very well, which is usually the case when I buy tickets, I have never had a problem selling a ticket on theater. I usually sell it within an hour, sometimes minutes, because I've usually bought a ticket for 10% off on TodayTix, which means that no one is offering to sell the ticket for as low a price as I am offering. Okay, and lastly, we have the secondary resale market, and that is Ticketmaster, StubHub, and Vivid Seats. And they charge 20 to 35% fees, which can mean an additional $40 to $50 on your ticket. And I will tell you now, I don't spend more than $60 on a Broadway ticket. With a rare exception of a show I just really want to see, I think every show I saw this past season, I did not spend over $60 for. So I never used the secondary ticket market. And do not use Broadway.com because that is a scam. They charge 30 to 45% of fees on your ticket, which is crazy. So don't go there. Okay, next we're going to talk about rush and lottery tickets. And this is how you see Broadway on a budget. Rush and lottery tickets usually run about $35 to $49, and they are sold the day of or the day before. The difference between rush and lottery tickets is rush tickets are sold on a speed basis, which I'll get into, and lottery tickets are sold on a chance basis, luck of the draw. So, rush tickets, speed basis. There are 2 ways to buy rush tickets: in person at the box office and online at a digital rush. Let's start with the box office. So, the box offices usually open at 10 a.m. Sometimes it's different on a Sunday, so check that. And people line up outside of the theater for rush tickets. Now, make sure that the production is selling rush tickets before you line up. Otherwise, you will be waiting for no reason. For popular shows, people will line up as early as 5 a.m. Sometimes there's just a handful of 2 or 3 tickets available, up to 20 tickets available. And for a show that is really struggling, they might offer 100 rush tickets. So there's no way to really know. But the more popular a show is, the fewer the rush tickets. And each person in line is entitled to buy 1 or 2 rush tickets. And the line is self-regulated, so it is important that the people on the line police it and make sure that people aren't cutting in line, because they will do that. People will come at 5 a.m. and save a place online for their friend who will roll in around 7 or 8 a.m. or worst, 10 till 10 a.m. and just hop on the line. And if we don't police the line, you're going to be waiting in line for nothing, because what seemed like 5 people in front of you will turn into 10 people, which is 20 tickets, and you won't get a rush ticket. Okay, but I'm gonna do a separate video about my recent experience at the Rocky Horror Show. So, online digital rush. There are only 2 that I know of. You've got the TodayTix, which if you click under the lottery and rush ticket options, you'll see the rush ticket, and that requires that you log on at 9 a.m. or before 9 a.m. and you click that button as fast as you can. Now, for some shows that are really popular, you can Do it day after day, click it as fast as you can, and you won't get tickets. Some you can roll in after 9:30, 10 a.m. and still click it, and there might still be rush tickets available. And that's great because then you don't have to go wait in the cold or the heat with a bunch of other theater geeks, which actually can be quite fun. Sometimes when I've waited online, I've met some really interesting people. There are always lots of nerdy theater talk, and you can find out what shows people are enjoying. So waiting in line is not the worst thing in the world. The TodayTix rush tickets usually run between $30 and $49. And the other place online is the Telecharge Rush, which handles all of the Schubert theaters plus a few of the nonprofit theaters. And those tickets are available at 11 a.m. And again, it's the first come, first serve, fastest one to click. And those can be priced from $30 to $180. Now let's talk about lotteries. Lotteries are for the lazy people. You enter the lottery usually the day before the show you want to see, either at midnight the day before or at 7 a.m. that morning the day before. And you can select one or two tickets. You enter the lottery. The lottery usually closes around 10 a.m. And at that time, they start sending out texts or emails to those who have won the lottery. So you need to stay close to your phone or your computer and make sure that you are ready to buy those tickets should they become available, because some only give you an hour to buy them, whereas others maybe give you a few hours. Where do you join these lotteries? Well, the TodayTix has lotteries, and then you've got your major three ticketing companies. You've got Telecharge has lotteries, Broadway Direct has lotteries, and Seat Geek has lotteries, and that's going to cover the majority of the Broadway theaters. Okay, let's talk about the nonprofit theaters. That's Roundabout, Second Stage, Lincoln Center, and Manhattan Theater Club. Those will often have their lotteries and rush tickets on TodayTix. But they also offer programs for students and people under 40, which can be accessed at their websites. Usually the student tickets can be as low as $20 or $25, and usually people under 40 can often get tickets for $40. And most of these programs are free to join. You just have to go to the website. Okay, are you still with me? That brings me finally to TDF, the Theater Development Fund. TDF operates the famous TKTS ticket booth on Times Square, and there's also one at Lincoln Center, which I prefer because the lines are shorter and it's indoors, so if the weather's bad, you can wait in line inside. Now, TKTS offers day of tickets that are discounted between 20% and 50%, but these are usually orchestra and mezzanine seats that are being discounted. So it's not the rear mezz seats, because if you get a $50 ticket discounted for 50%, that'd be $25. But it's usually not that. It's usually the orchestra seats. So the orchestra seat might be normally $150 and now it's $75 or $90. And I believe there is a fee included on this. It's this much. So I don't use TKTS. I used to use it a long time ago when I was a tourist, but I don't use it anymore. Instead, I have joined the Theater Development Fund, and you can buy discounted tickets in advance. The Theater Development Fund is the only place I know where you can buy advance discounted tickets. And they usually run between $11 and $63. Now, $11 is going to probably be off Broadway or off Broadway. But for a Broadway play, it's usually around $50. And for a Broadway musical, it's usually around $60. And you can buy those in advance. And you just have to check the website and they will let you know when tickets are available. Now, I've found that TDF tickets, because they're sold in advance, they are often the less desirable seats. Whereas a rush ticket, which is sold the day of, you might get a better seat, because if they have seats open in the orchestra that they need to sell, you're going to get that as a rush ticket and probably not a TDF ticket. So I don't use TDF too often. I use it mainly when a friend who's visiting or my mom's visiting, and I know that she has a limited number of days, and if I see that there's a ticket for a show she really wants to see, I'll go ahead and buy it on TDF just to make sure we have it. Now, can you resell TDF tickets? I guess you could on theater. Yeah, I've never done it, but you could resell those tickets on theater for face value. How do you join TDF? Well, there are some membership qualifications. Now, I'm going to read these off. If you fall into any of these categories, you can join TDF. You've got age-based, anyone 30 years and under or recent graduates. Student and faculty, full-time students and faculty. Arts and entertainment, performing artists, freelancers, professionals, that's me. Public service and nonprofits, government employees, etc., civil servants. Labor and employment, active union members, which is practically everyone in New York. Retirees and seniors, also a lot of people in New York if you're 62 years age or older. Military and faith, so active duty members, armed forces veterans, and full-time clergy, and federal assistance, individuals currently receiving federal disability benefits. If you are any of those categories, you can join TDF. Now, it does require proof of eligibility, but it's not that difficult. As a theater professional, I just sent them a link to my website. Easy. And there you have it. You know, the secret to seeing shows on Broadway, and this is what I did when my mother visited. She came for 9 days and we saw 11 shows. She made a list of all the shows she wanted to see, and I made sure she saw every show, and we never spent more than $60. For all 11 shows, we spent under $500. And the way you do it is you have to be flexible. So each day, she and I would both log on, we'd both play the lottery, we'd both try for the rush tickets, and we had the list. And as each show became available, you grab it, you grab it, you grab it. And she was able to see every show she wanted to see, plus some. So the website that I teased at the beginning of this video, this is going to change your life, guys. It changed mine. It's called BroadwayOnABudget.com, and it lists every Broadway show and every off-Broadway show. And next to it, it tells you what discount tickets are available, and a lot of them have a link. So if it's on the telecharge site, it'll have a link to telecharge or to the site. It makes all of this information I gave you, in a way, kind of pointless. Surprise! But you know now how it all works on Broadway, and hopefully that will help you. And if you use this website, I mean, I don't have a sponsor from any of these people. I should. But BroadwayOnABudget.com, and it also, I think, covers shows in Boston. It is a great resource for finding discounted tickets. All right, I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out my YouTube page. It's got a lot of reviews of Broadway shows, plus a lot of my own work, which I'd love you to check that out too. Click, comment, like, and subscribe. It all really helps me. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.